Midsummer reset. I cannot believe this. Remember revisiting what we planned for the year? Can you just believe we're already halfway through July? I don't know about you, but every summer, here we go. Every year, summer seems to always do the same thing. It starts off slow. We make plans, we put things together, right? We do those summit bucket lists, maybe. We think about going and tackling some of those projects around the house. We tell ourselves, what? This summer, I'm finally going to get organized. This summer, I'm going to finally finish all that projects that I have had on my list. This is the summer I'm going to maybe slow down. And then somehow, I don't know. We're in the middle of July. The 4th of July has come and gone. The summer has totally settled in. The beach towels are still everywhere. Yes, they are. So are the pool towels. The coolers are still sitting by the door. Possibly, hopefully they're emptied already. The routines are just a little bit different. And then they were in June, right? And we're wondering, where did the summer go? So I was actually thinking about this the other day because, like many of you, I've had my own ideas of what my summer would look like. I had plans, I had projects, I had actually things to do that I thought I would be getting done. And then guess what? Life happened. And here we are, personal story. One of my daughters recently found out that she needed to take out all of her 4 wisdom teeth. Yes, removed. Definitely not something we had on our summer calendar. Definitely not for this summer. That is for sure. So what happened? We had to shift our schedule. Now we're coordinating appointments, recovery time, soft foods, milkshakes, ice cream, sorbet, you know, making sure that she's comfortable. And it actually made me stop and think, this is exactly what life does sometimes. We make these plans, we create the schedules, we have good intentions overall, and then something unexpected comes along. A family situation, a health issue, a home repair, like I had my share in June, a work project, a child needing something. Life happens. And I think sometimes we feel like somehow we've failed when our plans don't go exactly the way that we have imagined. But guess what, my friend? That's not failure. That's life, which is exactly why I wanted to have this conversation with you today, because believe it or not, we're entering into, guess what, the third quarter of the year. I can't believe it. But I do think that this is the perfect time to pause. Take that pause button, start to reflect, to reset, not just to start over, not to throw out all those goals that you had, not to create some overwhelming list because you know that you have like the running of that treadmill because you want to make it to December 31st. No, just simply ask ourselves, how am I doing? What's working? What's not working? And what matters most, like right now? Because there's still plenty of time left in this year. We've another what? July, 6 more months, right? Till December 31st. And honestly, I think July is one of the best times to revisit the things that we hoped for back in January. So let me ask you this question, my friend. What did you plan back in January? What were your goals? Did you actually create like a vision board for this year, for 2026? And what about that word? Did you actually have that one word for you? How are you doing on that? And so maybe you might have said, well, yeah, I actually did do that vision board. I haven't looked at it since probably the last time I created it was in January or February. And maybe I did try to add some better routines, and I wanted to simplify my life, and I wanted to do some self-care, and I wanted to tackle, all these projects in the home. And so how's that going? So please hear me when I say this. This is absolutely no judgment here. This isn't about guilt. This isn't about being behind. It's simply being aware. Being aware is where change begins. Research shows that nearly 80% of New Year's resolutions, you ready for this one, are abandoned by February. And what month are we in now? We are in July. That means if you're listening today and thinking, I haven't accomplished everything I hoped for this year, well, guess what? You're not alone. Most people don't. Because what happens? Life happens, priority changes, and sometimes our goals need to change as well. I love the quote from Mark Twain. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. And maybe that's exactly what today is all about. A chance for you to start again, a chance to revisit what's important, a chance to take one step forward. Because this year, it's not over. Summer's not even over. And your opportunity to create meaningful change isn't over either. Maybe all you need is what? A little reset. So, summer doesn't go always as planned. I think every summer starts with these wonderful intentions, right? We tell ourselves this summer is going to be organized. I'm going to tackle so and so. I've got all these ideas what summer's going to look like. And then again, the summer starts, the heat, can I just say the heat is just killing me here in the 305. Oh my gosh. The visitors are coming, the vacation, the late nights. Love my pool days, beach trips. But then, slower mornings. It's hard to get up sometimes in the morning. Don't know why, but that just so happens, right? The disrupted routines. And then suddenly here we are, July, wondering where did the summer go? And actually laughing. I was actually laughing the other day because I had my own list of things. I really did. And I honestly thought I was going to accomplish them this summer. While I have done some of them, there are still definitely some few ones that I haven't, it just hasn't happened. And that's something unexpected came up. There we go. It's the wisdom teeth. Not something that I had planned. Definitely not. But now, you know what? It made me think. That's exactly what life happens. We make these plans, we create these schedules, we have good intentions, and then something like this comes along. Who would have thought? Who would have just thought? And it's something times that we feel like we failed. But again, it's not that because it's not, it's life. Research shows that people are more likely to abandon habits and goals during periods of transition and disrupted routines. And summer definitely qualifies as a season of disrupted routines. Why? Because the kids are home, schedules are different, people travel, visitors come, our normal routines change. And honestly, I think that's perfectly okay. Wouldn't you agree? A quote from John Lennon: Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. Isn't that true? Because while I didn't have the wisdom teeth surgery on my summer list for my daughter, it's exactly where our intentions needed to be right now. And maybe for you, it's something completely different. Maybe it's, a parent needing help, a child starting a new activity, a change at work. What about that? Maybe your home office needs a complete change, a makeover because your projects are shifting. You have an unexpected trip, or maybe summer has simply been busier than expected. I think one of the most organized things that we could do is to give ourselves permission to adjust. The goal isn't to have everything according to plan, even though we would love to, okay? The goal is learning how to pivot when the plan changes, because organizing isn't about perfection, my friend. It's about flexibility. Hear me out on that one, okay? It's about creating the systems that can actually bend and adapt when life inevitably throws us some unexpected things like the wisdom teeth. I'm back to the wisdom teeth again. Because it will, because it always does. And that's okay. Because so if summer hasn't gone exactly the way that you planned, you're not behind, you're not failing. Guess what? Again, it's life. And sometimes the most organized things that we can do is to pause, reassess, and ask ourselves what matters the most right now. And then give ourselves permission to what? Focus on that. Celebrate what you've done. I think we really are good on focusing on what didn't happen. We look at our lists and immediately notice, oh my gosh, I didn't finish this. I didn't finish that project. Oh my gosh, the stuff are still in the garage. I have that all those bags that I need to bring to donation and I still have them there. I haven't brought that and dropped them off. The guest room, oh my gosh, I still have that stuff in the guest room because of the closet. I haven't gotten in the closet yet. Um, and and it goes on and on and on. But what if we flip that question? How about that? Instead, why don't we ask ourselves, what did I accomplish this summer? What about this half year? What have I accomplished? And I am pretty sure that you'll have a nice list of things that you actually did get accomplished since January, my friend. And because I have a feeling if you did stop and you did think about it, your list, might not be as long as you thought. Maybe even not getting that whole house organized, but maybe, guess what? Your mornings are a little bit calmer. Maybe you got better at doing your nightly resets. Maybe you actually created a better laundry routine, even during the summer. Maybe, just maybe, you've added some non negotiables and you're sticking to them. Maybe you become more intentional about your schedule. How about that? And you know what? That and those little things matter. Those are wins. And I think sometimes we forget to celebrate them. Research actually shows that celebrating small wins increases motivation and makes us what? More likely to continue working towards our goals. In other words, small progress leads to what? More progress. And I love that because organizing isn't just one giant project. Even though we might think that, it's a series of small decisions. It's that one drawer, it's that one shelf, it's that one project, it's that one, that stack of papers. It's that one routine. It's that one step at a time. And I also think that we really underestimate how much life we fit into a year. Think about everything that happens already this year. What happened? There must have been what? Birthday celebrations, anniversary celebrations. What about those unexpected moments? What about changes in work, changes in projects, the challenges, the things that weren't even on our radar in January, and yet we're still moving forward. We haven't stopped. We're learning, we're growing. And I think that is something worth celebrating. I recently looked back at some things that happened this year, both personally and professionally. And there were things that weren't on my January list at all. Some wonderful things, some actually challenging things. And it reminded me that progress doesn't always look the way that we think it will. Sometimes the progress isn't learning to adjust. Sometimes the progress is creating a better routine. And sometimes, my friend, the progress is simply handling what life puts in front of us. This is another quote from Robert Collier. Success is the sum of small efforts, repeated daily, in and out. Repeated day in and out. Isn't that what organizing is about? Small efforts repeated over time. Maybe you don't have the perfectly organized pantry. Maybe you're better off putting things away than you did before. Maybe your entire office isn't as organized as you would like. But guess what? What you've done though is you've actually started sorting your papers. Maybe the garage isn't done. Well, you know what? I kind of put a pause button on that one because the heat index and working in the garage, if you're not working on it at early mornings, I would say I would put that pause button and maybe just shift that garage onto a later date of the year. Just saying, the heat really does make a difference on getting things done. But you've made product no matter what, and that counts. Please don't overlook the things that you've simply done, because guess what? Yes, there are still things to get done, but there will always be things to get done, right? The goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress. So before we move into the second half of summer and the third quarter of the year, I want you to take a moment and I want you to celebrate yourself. Celebrate the habits that you've built, the things that you've completed, the systems you've created, those small wins, because they matter more than you think, my friend. And sometimes looking back about how far you've come gives you exactly the motivation you need to what? To keep moving forward. So let's reset before the fall rush. Can you imagine I'm saying the word fall already? In mid-July. I know, right? But we can still agree that August somehow, it arrived overnight, but I can't argue with that. Okay. I just can't. But 1 minute we're celebrating 4th of July. The next minute we're seeing, the back to school sales, the fall decorations, Christmas in July, and everyone talking about getting back into those routines. The third quarter of the year is officially here. And I actually think this is one of the best times to pause and reset, not start over, not make a huge list, no pressure on yourself, just a reset, because there's plenty of time left in this year. And I think sometimes we forget that. We act as if we didn't accomplish anything by June. But guess what? That's okay. We didn't miss our chance. We haven't. In fact, research shows that people who revisit and reassess their goals quarterly are more likely to what? To make meaningful progress than those who simply set goals once a year and never look at them again. I love that. Because why? Because it gives us permission to pivot, to reassess, to ask ourselves what's working, what's not working, and what do I need right now? What would make my life easier this fall? Finally, organizing those papers? Probably. Or maybe creating a family command center. I've kind of started that in summer, and you know what? It's working. I like how I have it created now for summer. Maybe I can start using it when school starts. How about decluttering that one room? Putting back systems in place before school, before back to school season arrives. Maybe it's simply creating a better routine. And here's the important part. Just listen. Don't choose all these 20 things. Just choose one. One habit, one system, one next step. Focus on that. A quote by Martin Luther King Jr. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take that one step. And I think that's exactly what organizing is. We don't need a whole plan. We don't need everything figured out. We simply need to know what is our next step and then take it. Because that one small action creates what? Momentum. Momentum creates what? Progress. And progress creates change. This week, I want you to do a simple third quarter reset. Grab that planner. Open your notes app on your phone. Take out a piece of paper. Then answer these 3 questions. All right, you ready? Take out your paper and pen. There we go. Ready? I'm going to talk really slow so that you can write it down and you can answer them. What's the one thing you're proud of accomplishing this year? What's the one thing you'd like to accomplish before the end of the year? And what is, number 3, what is that small action you can take this week? That's it. Keep it simple, my friend. No giant to do, no pressure, just that one step, because one step can create a lot of momentum. Today, we talked a lot. We talked about goals. We talked about intentions that we had back in January. Why? Because summer doesn't always go according to plan. You heard me right. I know, I've been there. I'm still in it with these wisdom teeth. Life happens, and sometimes it requires us to pivot. Why it's important to celebrate the progress you've already made, and why third quarter of this year is perfect time for a reset instead of a restart, because the year isn't over. Summer isn't even over, and you haven't even missed your opportunity. So I hope today it has encouraged you to what? To pause and to reflect, to celebrate your progress, to give yourself grace for the things that didn't happen. And remember, There is still plenty of time left in this year to make meaningful changes. Maybe not everything you originally planned, and perhaps exactly not right now, but you know what? This is what you need for the season of life, my friend. Maybe it's the most organized thing you can do right now is just to simply ask yourself what matters right now. The focus on your energy. Focus on that. If you're feeling stuck and overwhelmed or simply need accountability to help you move forward, I'd love to support you through my Fresh Start coaching program. Together, we can create systems that fit your home and your routines and your season of life. And if you're not sure where to begin, start with my free How Organized Are You quiz. It's on my website. You'll find it in the show notes. It is less than 8 minutes, my friend. See which program would work for you. Thank you so much for spending time, part of your day with me. If you enjoyed today's conversation, I'd love for you to subscribe so that you'll never miss a Thursday coffee chat. I'd also love to hear from you on what's that one thing you'd still like to accomplish before year's end. Leave a comment, send me a message, share your thoughts. Until next week, your home is your sanctuary. And remember, you don't need to start over. You just need to take the next step because organizing doesn't happen all at once. It happens how? Step by step, little by little. Until next week.